Hey everyone, Johnny J. McKenzie here again. Um, Continuing on my acting here, tips and stuff in the industry. You see my Batman sign here, my buddy Batman, my favorite DC characters. I covered specific topics before. Specifically, I will cover one specific topic. There's so many, right? Just some general stuff, and then specific content. Let me see if this is better. I don't know. I'm not sure if that's better actually. Let's see if we can make this a little better. There we go. Yeah, like I said, we're gonna do. If people want to subscribe, that's great. It's gonna lead to seeing some of my videos online, my movies online. Uh, I'm trying to see if I can stream a TV series on here somehow through a web series at some point. Like I said, I have an acting school online Sundays through Zoom. A Zoom's link, people can just get a hold of me and they can join my Zoom link every Sunday, 6 to 7 Central Time. So it'll be, well, I'm in Winnipeg, but that's Winnipeg Central Time. And I cover different topics. Yeah. And also, it includes a lot of my industry contacts, ways that you work professionally and how to get working professionally. I know I have a few contacts that have been around a long time, like almost coming close to 30 years soon, actually, in the industry since 1996, 1997, as I mentioned in my videos. As well as Winnipeg's growing. They built a new sound studio stage, three sound studio lot with a warehouse. I think huge, a multi-million dollar project. Some owner from Vancouver, another place. I think it's called Big Sky Studios, but they opened up a place and they're renting space to Hollywood movie companies that come here and want to rent that space. So there's going to be work coming, especially coming up in the summer. If you want to get ready, you want some advice, you want some tips, you want to get some, how do you get into the business? You contact me anytime. We can figure this out, and you guys can get out there because there's work to be made. There's money to be made in the industry of this whole summer because summers are busy. Anywhere in Canada, and the United States is super busy, anyways. But Winnipeg's grown, I guess, over the last little bit, and Vancouver and Toronto has always have been pretty busy and big. So, anyways, for today, I want to go specifically about because there's such a um, not a touchy subject, but it's a subject that is hard to realize exactly. It's controversial. So, not controversial, but it's kind of just like how long do you do it? When do you do it? For how long does it take? Uh, so, I want to go about doing uh, extra work. My topic today specifically is extra work or background performer. So, it has two names. So it's background performer and it's also called film extra. Now, I want to cover this topic because my question about it is, and people are maybe wondering, okay, I wrestled with this idea myself too. Is you know, um, do you do it? And if you do it, how long do you do it? When do you break away from doing it, or do you have to break away from doing it? So these are two things we're going to say. Do you have to break away from it? Is it okay to do that and real acting, or is it should you separate them, or should you not do background help? And those are the things that we have to cover. Figure out which conclusion we can come to based on what I think my advice. But it doesn't mean that I'm right or wrong necessarily. But it is my view based on my experience and based on what I think. Um, Other people have different views, right? I would say, okay, number one, let's see. Okay, so now extra work, background performer. Now, do you do it at all? Do you do it at all? Or do you just audition and build a resume right off the bat and just get speaking parts and do plays, movies, TV series, commercials, audition like crazy, right? Go to acting school and just live the life of an actor. That's all you do, and you don't even touch back. Yeah, you can. You definitely can. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. You definitely can. Like you said, take the high school drama program, take lessons professionally with an acting coach. Could be somebody who's in the industry offering classes, or it could be just at an actual school, just a total theater school or a total conservatory and acting school for performing arts school, for sure. While you're building, like I said, you can do student films, do some student films for free, do some independent shorts for free, do feature, um, audition yourself with some paid work. So how frequently the paid work is auditions in places on your own. Maybe you get an agent and you try and get some auditions. Maybe you do some theater, some plays locally, some community plays, professional plays, Fringe Festival theater plays. Combine that with some paid work if you can find it. Combine it all and just look like an actor. That's great. You can do that. Or you can decide to do some extra work. So now if you do extra work, you can do this work. That's kind of what I did. Like I said, I wanted to be an actor since I was a little kid. So something like I said, 8, 9 years old. Did elementary school Christmas play. And from there I liked it. But then did the high school drama program. That was 3 years. And I really liked it. It was really exciting. I liked it. Then I started acting courses and then I decided to do extra work. I didn't know what it was. I didn't know extra work. I thought extra work, getting to movies, was getting to movies. I thought you had an actor role. I didn't know it was just a background at first. But I thought it was very interesting. I think if somebody wants to learn, I think someone could and should go there. If you haven't been on a movie set before or a TV set, that all, of course, your first time doing it, then I think you should, because it's like you're being paid to go to university. You're being paid to go to film school, to university. You're basically getting paid to go. Sorry, you're basically getting paid to go to film school, because when you go there, you're learning the industry. I mean, you go there, you learn all the terms, all the lingo, the movie terms, and what all the positions are. You learn the lingo. You learn the ins and outs of how it works. Who all the jobs are. Who's doing what jobs. You get to see what the director does. You get to see firsthand what the DOP does. You get to see firsthand what the cinematographer does. You get to see firsthand, the continuity person, what the continuity person does. You're learning all these positions, and you're getting paid for it. It's crazy. You're either getting paid minimum wage or close to it. Maybe you're getting paid more money. Who knows? But you're getting paid to learn. So definitely you want to do it for a while at least, because you're learning the terms, you're learning the process. What's the process? Okay, this is the process. Now, you usually have somebody called background casting, background performer casting. So they usually casting agency, they'll cast extras for background roles. That's it. So there's no. This is the reason why Now I'll give you a reason why later. Why you shouldn't stay at it too long. But anyway, this is the first thing. So you have a background casting, usually have an agency name, and all they say is they have a post and add someone on Facebook Audition Network, or they have posts, or they send emails out. So all you do is anybody off the street, anybody just like who's just interested, right? So they'll always say 18 to 65 or something. Send a photo and a resume, or just a photo. Good resume doesn't matter, because they're not going to care and they're not going to look at it. It makes no difference. Usually, so that doesn't make a difference. So just send a photo. Just say send a photo and then request an application. Fill out the application form with some details. Usually it's like height, weight, measurements, things like that, because they sometimes have to give you costumes to wear. They sometimes have to put you in some kind of outfit. Sometimes a police uniform or military uniform, sometimes a certain kind of dress. Maybe that is more specific. Maybe it's a certain color that they need, and you don't own that kind, right? So usually it's measurements, eye color, hair color, height, weight, all those things, and then you send a picture. And then they're gonna look at all that stuff, and then they'll usually call you. They'll send you. Usually they'll call you when there's work done. So either going to tell you they said they accepted it, you're on file, and then you also send your availability. So if your availability is good, you work more. If your availability is not that good, they're not going to call too often. They usually want go-to people that will say yes to everything. That they can call you. You might end up getting 15, 20 days in a month. Could be that busy sometimes, so you might get that many days a month. I think it's minimum wage. Usually it's about, I don't know, what average, maybe 100 a day, 100 something a day. I mean, 100 a day to sit on a movie set, learning the industry and practically doing nothing, sitting around, right? Being taken care of, you're eating food and they have catered meals. And I'll explain all these specific what happens there, but you're basically getting paid to learn. What you're going to make that same money working a day job, busting your back, doing manual labor, or doing something you hate, right? So it's not bad. It's not bad for that, 100 something day to sit around and learn. And you're mingling, you're talking to people, you're meeting new people, you're making friends, you're changing like stories with people, because you have like hours to kill, right? Usually you have hours to kill, and you could be sitting sometimes for hours at a time before you even do anything. So they call you and you go. So having good availability makes sure you'll work more. You don't want to work that much because your day job is very busy. Then it's okay if you just go a couple times a month, but just as long as you say yes to some stuff, right? So they'll have their tier one file. That's the yes to everything guys that go over everything that are really gung ho, really eager, and then they'll have just the general file. When I thought it's my day off, I'll show up. Who cares if I show up? Not a big deal. I mean, when's that? It's not too serious, right? So there's both of those groups. So you go in either one of the piles. You have your photo, they have your information, and you just wait. So you work, do your job, do your everyday life stuff, and then you wait for the call. The call will come in and say, do you want to work? You usually get an email or phone call. It could be either or both. Usually, sometimes most of these emails, sometimes it's phone calls, but they're phone. So say they phone or the email, you say, hey, we have this gig, so and so movie from Hollywood. They need 30 extras. You want to go as one of the extras, and it's general. You don't know what necessarily it is. Sometimes they'll tell you what the role is, like specific. They'll just say like, if it's general, it'll be general. Like you're already doing a crowd scene, so now you know they want 30 people for a crowd scene. So you're in a crowd scene. So there's nothing else you have to know, but you're going to a crowd scene. They might say if it's role specific. If you're lucky, sometimes you get role specific. So they'll say they have 20 extras, but you're going in as a cop, or you're going in as a paramedic, or you're going in as a firefighter, you're going in as a waiter, you're going in as doctor, a guy, reporter guy with a camera guy standing there, pretending you're using a camera. So sometimes you get role specific. So they'll tell you what it is, the name of the movie, what it is, the kind of scene you're doing, the time, the date, all that, and then you say it. If you say yes, they book you. Once they book you, you can't say no. After that, you're expected to be there, expected to not cancel. You can cancel for an emergency. Obviously, you're super sick, something really bad happens for an emergency. But generally, they expect you to go. Then, when the day actually comes up, they usually do a reminder email, confirmation day before again. Here's your call sheet, here's the call time, here's the call sheet, show up at such and such time, blah, blah, blah. And then you're set to go. They'll have information confirmed that you'll go. They'll send you the address, they'll send you Google Maps where to get to the place. They'll give you instructions to get to the place. They'll usually tell you to pack a suitcase full of clothes to bring. They want shirts, ties, a bunch of stuff like that. Suits, shirts, shorts, if it's summer, winter scenes, whatever the scenes are, they'll tell you all that kind of stuff. To bring everything ready, usually bring water. Usually you have to bring, if it's winter wear, lots of winter wear. If it's summer, you're gonna wear bug spray, lots of summer kind of summer gear. So you pack your stuff and you go to the set. Then you got the gig. So you confirm the gig. You packed all your stuff the week before, and then you show up on the set to where location, and then you're there. So now this is what happens when you're there. So what does an extra do? Okay, so we say how you do it. You look for background casting. Like I said, you put your photo, you put your info, all that stuff. Now what are you doing it? This is the procedure, but this is what I'm saying. It's the same procedure technically for actors, except for them it's a little different. I'll explain the difference, but it's almost the same. Okay, so usually they do a day shoot. So usually it's like a 9 o'clock start time. It could be an 8 o'clock start time. Call time, start time. Okay, sometimes it's 7, but generally not that. Usually I would say 8 or 9, sometimes 10. Sometimes there might be an afternoon one starting at 1. But generally, it's not that late. Usually it's 8 or 9 on average. So you show up. You check in. You show up at the time of start time. You're not supposed to be late. Being late to set's bad. Okay, even if as an extra starting out, you don't want to be late because they get mad at that. Because you might be in a scene right away. You might be at the first scene of the day, and then do nothing all day after that. Who knows, right? You don't know where you are, where they are. They don't tell us, right? You're just there to fill the background anyway, so they're not going to tell you anything. So you show up. You look for usually somebody that's an AD, not the first AD. The first AD works directly with the director. They're the ones that still call some of the shots. They're the ones that still wrangle up the actors and make sure everything's going good. So it's usually a second or a third AD. Usually the third AD, they're designated to deal with extras, so they're the ones in charge of the extras. They have a headset, they have all the stuff on. You check in with them. They'll say, "Oh, I have so and so here for doing background." Okay, good. They tell you usually go to the front door and they greet you there, and you walk in. They usually have somebody sitting at a desk where they have a sign-in sheet. They have two people there. They're paid or volunteers, I don't know, but two people, and they have all the names of your names in a book checklist. And they'll scroll, okay, what agency, what place, okay, they'll find your name, they'll check you off. So now you're checked in. They'll give you usually a form, your sign-in sheet for getting paid. So it's your little sheet. You put your name, phone number, address, because they usually mail you the check most of the time. Some places you might still have to mail it to care of the agency. Go see the agency, and then they'll cut the check for you. But usually people don't need an agency per se for extra work. Just find it yourself. I mean, that's kind of old school. I don't really know if you want to be paying commissions for getting extra work. Just find the work yourself. So just say you're not doing that. Just say you put the address, your own address, they'll mail you the check. And that usually can take up to 6 weeks. Generally, they're pretty quick. I would say probably about a week or two. Usually about 2 weeks. 2 weeks the check will come in, and then you got your check, go cash it. And the cool thing about that is, well, I'll get back to that in a bit. But so you get your sign-in sheet. Usually it's it could be a white ticket, like form. They'll give you that. You're checked in now. You take your seat, and they'll have a place called extras holding, background holding. So usually it's a location in interior place. Usually some kind of classroom or a room, hallway, something, not a hallway, but usually a room, some kind of classroom or some kind of place. They have tons of chairs and tables. You just pick a spot. You put you hang up your suits, you hang up your clothes, get your little corner, put your stuff in somewhere, and then you sit and wait. And then everybody signs in. Every time everybody gets their signs in, you're in the same holding room. They already have something called craft services, which is food, coffee, stuff like that. They've already had their own catering company already, and they have a cook or sometimes a catering company already. They're already started that stuff. Usually, if you start AM early by 7 or 8, you get free breakfast. It's like bacon, eggs, full free breakfast. So then you check in, you sign in, you put your stuff down, and then they'll come down. Another AD, sometimes in charge, or the same guy will come down and say, I'm the AD, and he'll say his name, and he'll say, thanks everybody for coming here. Everybody just sit tight for now, and you're sitting. Then they'll say you can go for coffee, you can go for breakfast and everything. So you go do that before you even change, before you do anything. So you can go do that. So now you have coffee, breakfast, you come back to your table, you sit, you have breakfast, waiting. Generally, they'll say the next step based on where they are as far as time, like where the actors are, what's happening, what's the plan for the day. They'll come back and say your next step. So you sign in, you sit, you're waiting, you're having breakfast, or you're not having breakfast, but you're sitting, you're waiting. Next step is usually wardrobe. Wardrobes will come, they'll check what clothes you have, see if they like it, what look you're going to have. The street clothes, they're going to combine the colors that they want, what other people are wearing, what the actors are wearing. The color's not going to contrast, or they might have a uniform for you specifically, because that's what I took measurements. Then they'll bring you to the area where the costumes are. They have a huge trailer, they got a huge room full of like suits and police uniforms and belts and shirts and dresses. It's crazy huge in Vegas. You'll see it's amazing. They got a crazy amount of stuff. Hats and boots and shoes and belts and eyeglasses, and it's just crazy. Sunglasses. So they'll put you in the uniform based on your size, and they'll tell you to change. Usually you can change nearby there somewhere. Sometimes there's a change room. Sometimes you just go to the bathroom change. So you do that and you come back, and then you're in costume. Then you go back to your holding area in costume. Then they're going to tell you to go to hair and makeup. So then usually hair and makeup. So you check in, you sit, wait for breakfast. You do costumes. Then you do hair and makeup. There'll be a hair and makeup trailer. Usually it's a couple of girls sitting in another trailer, and they got makeup, and they got chairs, they got combs and shampoo and water and whatever. They need clippers and stuff and shaving stuff, and so they're there and they check your hair and makeup. If you're gonna be kind of specific role, or somehow they think you might be close camera. Close camera means you might be in the scene for sure. They might put a little makeup on you, like just powder your face a bit. Might touch up your hair if you have hair. If you're a girl, usually they'll do your hair up nice. If you didn't already come with your hair nice, they'll just look you over quick. Usually for extras, they barely touch you. Usually go to hair makeup, they'll take a look at you for 2 seconds. Unless they have to do something, they'll just leave you alone. And then you leave, unless you need specific makeup for something. For some reason they're going to age you, or they're going to put a beard on you for some reason, or whatever. You got something specific you have to do. But generally, they'll look at you 2 seconds, they'll say, fine, you go back to your costume, you've seen your makeup, and that's waiting. You literally just sit in your holding area. It could be, you'd be sitting in that maybe 2-3 hours in a row or more. That's where, you can say, you go on your phone, you check messages, you read a book, introduce yourself to people, talk to people, mingle, get to know, make some interesting contacts, see what people are into. It's a really fun time because that's where you get to meet a lot of people. Or you can sit to yourself, just read a book. A lot of people just, you see the books coming out, people are reading books, waiting for the time. So then you wait and they call your time. They'll say, okay, we need you. They'll point, just point at you. Sometimes they'll call you by your name. Sometimes they'll just point and say, you can come with us. The scene's ready. So when you go, you get up and you go to the set. They'll literally walk you to where the set is. You go to the set. Now you're going to see the camera set up. You're going to see the director with the headset. You're going to see a camera guy. You're going to see guys running around. Grips, electrician guys working around. Everybody's they're setting up. Sometimes it might be a dolly set up with the camera on it, equipment everywhere. You're looking around and you're fascinated. You're learning, and you just can't help but trying to learn by watching. Right? You're like, this is where you really should absorb everything and learn. Okay, what are these guys doing? This guy's going here. What's he doing? What's his name? Why is he calling him that? What terminology did he just use? What was the the set etiquette term on this one? Why is he calling him? What's the dolly? What's the dolly? Who's the grip? Who's the key grip? Who's the AD? What's the cinematographer do? What's the DOP do? What's the second AD do? What's the first AD do? Find out who the director is. Watch what he does. Is he playing with the lenses? What's he doing with the lenses? Why did he change the lens? What's he talking about? What terms is he using? That's where you learn. So you'll see all that equipment and you're standing around, and then they'll have the same AD that's been dealing with you all day, will usually still in charge of you. Usually one step up above him is the one that will be dealing with you on set. They'll say, this is the scene. Actors are going to come from from the sides. They're going to meet in the middle. They're going to discuss whatever they're discussing. We need somebody to do crosses. They're called crosses. So all you're doing is, okay, you point to you and say, you walk behind the actors. So if they're here, just say, you walk behind them. Just walk by as you're a passerby. So they're going to see, you're going to be seen on camera as your side profile, and then two actors talking. They might say, walk in front of them. Maybe it's going to say, cross on an angle past them. So you're the crosser guy. See, again, that's all you're doing. And you're in your costume, you're ready. So when they say action, you're going to say, you're going to go to your cross. And then they might point to the next guy and say, you're going to cross this way. And then they're going to say, you might put 2-3 people standing behind them as if they're friends of theirs, but they're not talking. They're just there for an extra group of people, but maybe they're behind them and having their own conversation. Because if it's a coffee shop thing, right? A coffee shop type scene, there's tables full of people. So you might be doing that now. That's the other thing. They might be the restaurants. So you're a person that sits in a restaurant. You and somebody else you paired with, could be somebody could be a friend, could be a stranger. You just met that day. But you guys got to talk to each other. They call it miming, and they call it ad-libbing if you just say the words, but it's called miming. So you're mouthing the words as if you're talking, but you're not talking. It's really goofy, kind of, and it feels goofy, and it kind of is, but it looks good on the camera. Or you talk super softly. Generally, you're not speaking because you're going to drown out the audio of the actors saying lines. Okay, so you're going to be super quiet, and you're mouthing off as if you're mouthing words back and forth to each other as if you're in a conversation in a coffee shop. So you got to act natural, be natural, just talk to this person in front of you. Don't look at the actors, don't look around, just look at the person. Act like as if you're just really a person in a coffee shop. You're just an everyday guy that goes to the local coffee shop. So there's coffee shop scenes, there's crowd scenes like that. Maybe you're sitting in the stands, okay? You could be doing that, you could be doing crosses. There's all aspects of doing background work. But you guys are also part of something called second team. Second team is the extras. They stand-ins, something called stand-ins. They stand in for the actors to watch, for eyeline, for camera, for lighting. Then they have also part of crew or stunt teams. That's all second team. First team is the main actors. So first team is the actors. Second team is extras and everybody else. So they're going to say second team rehearsal. That's the extras rehearsing, and then they're going to have the actors, and they're going to say overall rehearsal. And then you do it the way they told you the second time. And then they'll say pictures up. Pictures, that means they're filming the actual master shot, the main scene. Then they're going to say, okay, pictures up. They're going to do it. Then if they don't like it, they're going to say something called back to ones. That means your first position to where you started the scene in the first place. When we start on point A and you walk down the hall in front of the actors to point B at the other end of the hall. So you did this one walking. So first position, second position, and ending position. So it could be that. So you gotta remember first position, they're gonna say second team rehearsal, first position, and they're gonna say back to ones. So always back to ones will say cut back to ones. The director will always be the one to say cut back to ones, cut back to ones until they're satisfied. You might do it 3, 4, 5 times before they're happy. If they're happy, they're gonna say, okay, we're moving on. Usually they'll say something like, they're gonna do their check, final check, whatever it is. Sometimes they'll say don't. Usually when they say that, they mean like to say checking the gate. Checking the gate is a term that they use for the check and make sure that print is the one that they want. The checking the gate, they're making sure that there's nothing wrong with the camera gate, that there's no hair, there's nothing wrong with it. Everything, the lighting, everything, the shot that he wants. And basically the shot that he wants is what he wants. It's done. Then if he's on, usually if it's done, they'll say, okay, good, moving on. So if you hear moving on, that's a good. That means that they're going to set up for the next shot. Then if they say moving on, you go back to your background holding area and you sit and you wait until they set up the cameras for the next shot. So they're going to remove the cameras. It might be the exact same scene exactly what you just did, but then in reverse yet. So remember that can go in reverse, move the cameras at another angle. So that can happen, or it might be a totally different shot. Maybe they're going to go in for the close-ups of the actors. There's now the coverage scene. It's called coverage. Coverage scene mean close-ups of the actors on their faces, as the other ones. One camera's over the head, one's on the face of the other person. They might still want the same people walking back and forth behind them. Well, depends. So then you go back and sit and wait. That could be a couple more hours waiting. Maybe it's fast. Sometimes it's an hour and you're back in it again. But you can have patience to sit around for a lot of hours. That's the thing. It is kind of boring. It's not as glamorous as it seems. It's a waiting game. It's a lot of sitting around. You're going to have the stamina for it. I mean, you're not physically working. So it's not stamina, but it's stamina for mental because you're sitting around so much. And you wait till they call you again. So that's what background does. Okay, so it's not acting. It's no lines. You're just walking. You fill crowds. They do something called, they'll do something where they'll have guys go on the street and hand out flyers. Say, anybody here walking by, come and do extra work. So basically, anybody can do it. It doesn't take skill. It doesn't take talent. Okay? You're not saying anything. You're barely seeing. You might have your back of your head there. You know what I mean? They call it cattle. You're basically they do call something called a cattle call where you get 100 extras to sit in stands. Okay, you're sitting in a chair in the stands. You may not ever be seen, right? So it's a thing that anybody can do. You're just like movable furniture almost. Okay, so the creative process of that, to me, is you're not acting, right? It's not. You're not going to grow doing that. So that's what an actor does. The other part of extras, you can get something called a special skills extra. You can move up to a featured extra, role specific. Role specific usually is featured or special skills extra. So featured extra, I'll just say real quick, is something like role specific. You're a cop, and they literally have the police uniform for you, just basically made for you, or it fits you specifically with your name on it. It's your uniform. They supply the gun, they supply handcuffs, they supply all that. They show you how to use all that stuff. But you be featured in the scene where you're actually going to make the print of the film. You're actually going to be in the scene, meaning you might have to point a gun direct towards a bad guy and pretend you're firing, and they're going to add that later. Maybe you're part of the film. You're in the script as Officer One comes and shoots so and so guy. If you're in the script, that means that's basically you're in the script. You're in the show. Maybe they want you to walk up to the main actor and nod to him, nod to him like hello, or saying yes to him, and then he's talking to you, like literally the main star from Hollywood is talking to you, and you're just listening to him nodding, but you guys are walking together, this way, and the camera's facing you guys. Now you are seen right beside the lead actor, man. Because imagine it's like you and Denzel walking together, and you're just listening to him. That's amazing. That's different. That kind of extra work is good because it's role specific. You're actually interacting with the people, the main people. When you get direction from the actual actor himself or the main camera guy, that is very good because they trust you. They picked you out of the group for a reason. That's okay. That kind of extra work is good. You know, they may have you might upgrade you to do a stunt. Maybe they want you to go from point A to point B. You get to the end of point B, you're gonna fall. They'll put knee pads on you. I did stunt where they put knee pads on you with a little bit of padding, and they tell you to fall certain way. Then you get a stunt credit. Now you get an official stunt credit plus background. Usually they bump you up some money too. Okay, which is good. Special skills could also be maybe you're playing a dead corpse. Yeah, you're in a makeup chair for an hour and a half, 2 hours. Um, they even pay you special skills recently is over 20 something bucks an hour. And plus, on top of that, they give you a trailer. Now you upgrade it to a trailer, your own RV, to sit in your own RV, or not a whole RV, but half an RV, or one quarter panel of the RV, because they're broken up into separate rooms, actual little rooms. You still have a TV, your own TV, your own washroom, everything, couch. I've had that happen before. That's special skills that money wants. So if you're going to stay in extra work, I would say this is what it would be. Okay, you never been on camera, like I said. You want to get into the industry. You've already finished high school. You're ready to work your day jobs. You want to get in. I would say take acting lessons from somebody who's a professional teacher. Get headshots. Go to a background agency. I would say for a year, do extra work, all the kinds. Regular background, like I said, crowd scenes, passerbys, party goers, whatever you call it, like cop, ambulance guy, hospital scenes. But learn and check all the terminology, all the stuff. Learn the terminology, learn where the cameras work. Remember, you're being paid to go to school. Learn all the terminology, everything. Try to get some upgrades, try to get some specialty work. And on top of that, in between that, still audition. Still do a play in between. Still do a play, do a Fringe Festival. Did some actual work with lines, real lines, and blocking. Or maybe do an independent short, independent feature, even if it's for free, because remember, you got to build a resume. If you need a resume, it has to have credits, it has to have speaking parts. That's the other thing. Don't put extra work on a resume. So look at, okay, you can't put extra work on a resume because it's taboo and not really great to do it in the first place. You're on the bottom of the totem pole and nobody really respects you, cares that you're there. Really too much. Okay. So you can't put extra work on there because they're gonna say, well, that doesn't really show anything for acting. So you gotta have speaking parts. So your resume only has speaking parts, and then your training where you train your courses and everything. You have it categorized as theater, TV commercials, videos, TV series and movies. That's your categories, and then at the bottom you have your special skills, and that's it. So let's say maybe about a year. So like I said, about a year be good, be on set, go there on time. Like I said, you get free food, you get catered meals, you get coffee all day, you get to meet people, you get to learn the terminologies, you get to see how the movie is actually done, you get to see how the cameras are set up in front of you. They're literally setting everything up. You see how the dollies are working. Sometimes you're gonna watch them rig a car and blow up a car in front of you. That's pretty amazing. Like, I mean, you have to go to school for that. You spend thousands, right? You're getting all this. You're getting paid to be there, so it's amazing. Don't just sit there waste time all day, just read a book or just sit there and chat all day. But you've never been on this set to actually explore. Go explore. They don't stop you from walking around looking at everything. Go and learn everything instead of just sitting and mingling all day. Especially at first. Now, once you become more, I guess, seasoned, like you've already been there a year. I mean, I actually did myself personally. Okay, I'll say I did off and on what I did between actually doing, because I did 4 years Fringe Festival. I did lots of amateur community theater, like shows and shows, and then professional theater, Shakespeare theater, and Broadway theater. On top of TV commercials, movies, some for free as shorts and features because I wanted to build my resume. And I just wanted to get the experience. There were good roles that were going to be standout roles, and then big movies, and then. But I always did extra work. I did it for almost, I would say I did it for 15 years. See, I'm the one saying don't do it too long, and I'm the one that did it a long time. I sometimes regret it. I sometimes don't regret it. I guess I kind of don't because I stayed in so long. I got an amazing amount of upgrades. I mean, I had a one-on-one scene with Sybil Shepherd. I had a one-on-one scene with another actor. I had a one-on-one scene with a ton of actors. The one-on-one scenes and featured scenes where I'm uh, actually seen in tons of movies, even with close-ups. That is borderline actor role because I'm seeing too much. Lots of stuff where the AD is, man, you're seeing so much. That's just because I don't like the way they pick me out of the group. Maybe they see me around enough, and they give me those opportunities. So I made the most of it. So like I pulled guns on guys, some of the actor guys. I've done all kinds of different stuff. I did one stunt. I got upgraded to one stunt. I do a break for all, as I mentioned before. But I don't think you stick with it long. You got actors that go into the union and they want to stick with acting background forever, and they say, "Oh God, I got another acting gig." I go, "So where's this acting gig? You know, did you audition? How many lines do you have?" "Well, no, I was just doing background." This background is not acting. Extra work and background work is that. Acting is this. They're not the same. You see any actor's interview, they say, "My fellow actors, my fellow co-actors, we did this," and then the same breath they'll say, "But we also had 30 extras on the set that worked lots of hours and they did a great job." They didn't say 30 actors that also do extra work did a good job. They said they had it categorized. They said us actors were, were this group. We also had extras. They will do the same thing. They'll say we also had this many stunt guys. We also had this many electrician guys. It's all separate entities. It's not the same. You can argue and say, well, I'm an actor that does extra work. There isn't any. There's not supposed to be any. Where do you see? You would see. That'd be like, let's not say huge star. Like Keanu Reeves, those guys are too big. But I'm just saying, you see average, see an actor that worked in Hollywood. See, he's somewhat known. You know, he has a familiar face, but he's not a household name. We'll just say whatever guy. I don't know any less famous guys, but we'll just say there's an actor in Hollywood. Did a couple movies. Did some movies he was known. And then he says, well, you know what? Tells his agents, you know what? I did 4 movies as an actor. I worked with these Hollywood stars, big stars. I made this amount of money already. He says, you know what? Just this time around, give me an extra gig. You know, I'm just gonna not act this one. The next one, you know what? If you have an extra work role, let's take that. That's them. Okay? There isn't. They're never gonna do that. They're not gonna say, oh, let me do a couple extra work gigs this time around. And then next month I'll audition and I'll get another role with as an actor in another movies again. And I'll be seen again all around the world. But just this time, give me an extra role. They'll never do that. I never heard of an actor ever doing that in their entire life. They'll say, "Oh, I'll just do background, but then I'll go back to acting later." They won't do that. You don't want to degress. You want to progress. You want the most challenges as possible. That's why, to be a serious actor, you should do theater and film. You should be able to see if you can do all the mediums. Can you do all the mediums? Can you do drama? Can you do comedy? Can you do, um, you know, comedy, drama, action, sci-fi, romantic comedies? Can you do all the genres? You know, can you jump from theater to film anytime? Can you jump from film to TV? I mean, TV is huge. TV is like huge as far as the medium. It's super difficult. I mean, it's sometimes like audiences not so much anymore, but it's fast paced. You have to have everything memorized. You're moving sharp. It's long days. You got to just give her a scene, especially comedy. Imagine Friends, Seinfeld, The Office. You know what work those guys are doing, how amazing those guys actually are, what they're actually doing. I think we underestimate how amazing all those people are. That's hard work. Imagine you're doing something like a TV show on Seinfeld, and then all of a sudden you're out there after a couple of days, and then you jump into something like a dramatic film. That's really low key, you know, just really tight and short type of acting. You're just using your eyes. You might have to cry. You might have to raise your voice, something like that. Maybe you're saying scenes, but really small and short. You know. So I think you do for a year. I think sexual work is something I don't think you stay in it for life or for too long. I think there's lots of them they want to because they want to feel part of it. I get the fact that you want to stay part of the business. You just want to be on set. You love it so much you want to be on set. And that's the trap I think I felt. I just said to myself, listen, this is my day job. I'm showing up here. I'm getting paid to learn. I'm getting fed. I'm getting treated generally pretty good. I'm part of the movie history. Because no matter what, you still make you're still in that film no matter what happens. You're still part of the archives in that film. Even they still list the extras in their film as in the archives part of the book. You're still there. You still saw the lead actors. Sometimes you met them. Sometimes you had a chance to talk to them for a bit. You're still there, right? But it's like I felt the trap that I'm doing it because I still thought for the same money I make it as an extra, I would make the same amount, maybe less, I had a day job and I hate the day job. So what day jobs are you gonna do? I hate most day jobs. What are you gonna do? You do a manual labor job, you're gonna make less. You might get hurt, right? You might get hurt and injure yourself. What else are you gonna do? You might as well get paid to be in the industry you want to be in. But it's a trap. Like I said, if you're especially if you're in the actor union, you're gonna want to do these background works because you're getting paid double than what you normally get. And then you're in the trap of being that extra for the next how many years. And I think casting sees you as that too. People think they might not. But if a casting director who actually casts principal roles says, wait a second, you're coming to me to audition for a speaking part in a film that I'm casting, but I constantly see you or hear you going, being background, doing crowd scenes. Do you want to do crowd scenes? Or are you here to be a professional actor, serious actor? I think that sometimes can hold you back and hurt you. I think that sometimes happens. I've heard of it happening. It might. I don't know if it's for sure a guarantee that it does that. I think to a point it does. Because you want to know that you're hiring professional actors. And the only way to know is how big is your resume? What have you done? Right? What have you done? You stand out. Like, you know, if you do a movie for free and you win an award doing it, is it worth it? Yes. You didn't get a check, but you got an award. What is an award? I have an award. You can put that award on your resume. You also got kudos now. What about if you did a movie for free and then it led somebody who has money seen it and it led to 3 paid parts after that? You made triple. You worked for free for that one, but you made triple doing the other 3 because you did that one for free because you were seen and you showed what you can do. So my overall thing here to finish up for extra work is I think it's cool to do if you want set experience, you want to learn the terms, you want to see how the film making process works. And like I said, you're getting paid to go to school and learn. You're meeting awesome people, and you get to have an amazing amount of fun. Some days you wear some really cool costumes, so yes, it's good. It's really cool if you get upgraded and get into some other categories. That's really cool too. But I would say in total, maybe spend a year, maybe 2 years tops doing it. Then start really hustling, bustling, just going to auditions, just booking, speaking parts, getting paid, and also go from theater to film, theater to film, theater to TV, film to TV, but work the crafts. So keep studying and keep learning and do the work, and then get the roles. And I would say so 1 to 2 years tops extra work, and then work as an actor and live it and breathe it and do it properly. Like I said, train, eat well, exercise, take lessons in other different skills. Maybe learn guitar, maybe learn dancing, maybe learn martial arts, learn something that you can use as an extra special skill because you also want to build up your special skills category. You don't want to look and you have one thing, juggling, and that's it. They want to see, roller skating, ice skating, skiing, snowboarding, martial arts, boxing, swimming, um, uh, you know, gymnastics. Like they want a guitar. You're a guitar guy. You're a music guy. You got a role in a movie playing music in the background. A drummer. You know what I mean? You have your special skills big too. So you got to work that kind of stuff. The only other thing quick too about extra work is when you get paid. They don't take any income tax off, so you got to claim that as income. But it's considered background performing, so it's considered an entertainer number, which you get on a tax credit thing. Also, you can claim write-offs with that. Hair appointments, any lessons, hair appointments, buying clothes for roles, everything. So make sure you keep a lot of receipts. A lot of receipts in the shoebox. You can take those receipts and claim them against your check. So if you got a good check, you can claim all those expenses that'll lower your income. And sometimes they'll give you a loss. If you get a little bit of refund, and sometimes it might just put you in the tax bracket, and you might still get a refund. So you're allowed to claim because you're an independent contractor. It's called independent contractor, background performer, actor, whatever. For that purpose, they classify it in the same category, but they're not the same category when you do the work on set. But they just consider you an actor, background performer. It's the same thing when you file your taxes. But have all the receipts, and you claim that stuff. So that's really cool too. So you want to buy yourself a couple of suits, keep the receipt, claim that. Like I said, hair appointments, going to the gym, lessons that you take, any skills that you learn, all those things that are fees. Keep getting your headshot fees. You can claim your headshots amount. So if you pay $200 to get your headshots, you get a percentage of that back. Almost or all that back. If you're on casting workbook, you get the casting workbook fee back as your taxes. And that's pretty much my view on what extra work is, what background performing is, the difference between that and acting. Acting just means that you're playing a role specifically. You have a speaking part. You're part of the actual story. You help move the story forward. Your scenes are in there. You're going to be for sure seen. You're working with other types of actors that probably studied for years, may or may not have studied for years, but are at a high level. So you just got to make sure that you can hold your own with all these different types of people. So, because if you're not ready, they're going to know it, and the director's going to know it. So, that's it, and that's all for now, folks. I think it's Johnny J here to sign out, and like I said, any questions or any other messages, just make a message to me, or wait for my next one, and we can talk about it again as well. So, thanks everyone.